Hello and welcome to Brand Up, the weekly show that brings you all the news about social media, branding, and how to get more exposure for anything you do and really boost your brand online. So, my name is Matthias Mazur. We are now live on Periscope. So hello to everybody on Periscope. If you have any questions, you can shoot them through on Periscope. We have a very special book that I'll be talking about, which is very timely too. We'll keep that kind of like secretive for the moment. And so today we're going to talk about really 10 tips, 10 hacks, 10 techniques to really boost your brand online. So every week we're going to be bringing you this show, and I'm going to start off by talking to you about two stats that I pulled today, literally just before the show, that really show the reach and the power that social media has. So this is a really cool stat. Did you know that people spend on average 2 hours a day on social media? Yes, 2 hours a day. I saw that stat and I thought it was fascinating because I just remember when, about 10 years ago when social media just started kind of like, the essence of social media, the beginning of social media was really interesting to see because Facebook came along and people weren't really sold on Facebook. I remember some platforms before Facebook, like High Five, Friendster, for example, too. And it was really interesting because I remember talking to adult friends at the time. I'm born in 1986, so 10 years ago I was 21, actually 19, but early 20s. And I remember people saying, "I'll never be on Facebook. I don't believe in this Facebook thing." And here we are in 2015. And spending, enormous amounts of time on social media. Personally, I spend hours a day just because it's for work also, so I have to interact with people. That stat is fascinating. 2 hours a day on social media on average. So obviously, the younger generation spends more time than the older generation, but I remember having a conversation with some adult friends, like I said, and some grandparents who said this whole computer thing, this whole social media thing is a fluke. It'll never really, connect generations. That was the topic 10 years ago, I remember. And here we are. I mean, look at who's actually spending time on social media, who's actually interacting the most. It started off with teens, and now it's really, the baby boomers. I mean, my grandparents are on social media, which is scary to me. So that's how it's evolved. So that's a fascinating stat, and I think it's that in itself should be enough to make you realize that you need to be on social media because people's attention is on social media. And maybe you don't believe in Snapchat, maybe you don't believe in Instagram, maybe you don't believe in Facebook yet, but history, especially in the last few years, has really shown that technology is so fast that new platforms are coming up all the time, and we'll talk about new platforms. And it is fascinating to me to see the evolution between a generation that said they would never touch social media. Now they're spending more time than even the younger generation. So that's interesting. And the second stat I wanted to pull up was Instagram. Instagram grew 50% in the last 9 months and is now bigger than Twitter. So let's take a step back because I remember signing up for Twitter, I think 2006, 2007, I think 2007. What was really interesting about Twitter is at the beginning, no one really believed in Twitter. Remember, it was this, I remember people making fun of it, saying, "Oh, what am I going to post on Twitter? Like, oh, I just had a salad," right? I remember people posting just, pictures of food, just kind of like interacting with the platform. and a lot of people making fun of that. And fast forward to 2015, Twitter was the cause of Arab Spring, of dictators being, completely losing control of their country that they'd been controlling for decades, just because Twitter was the tool that people used to communicate. So that's the power that Twitter has, right? Now what's interesting is this new platform, which isn't really new, but called Instagram. I'm sure you've seen it, or you have an account. I hope you have an account. If not, get an account now. Instagram grew 50% in the last 9 months and has now more users than Twitter. Over 300 million users on Instagram, which is more than Twitter, which is fascinating. Just the growth of, the speed of growth of these new platforms. Snapchat is another one. Everyone was making fun of Snapchat about 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, saying that, it's just, for, high school kids, even like teens, younger teens just who are texting each other. And now it's the biggest growing platform in social media. So it's funny how platforms evolve and they mature. So we'll talk a lot about all that on these shows. Those are the 2 stats I wanted to share as we get into this first episode.
Go to MatthiasMazur.com to watch the full episode and connect with Matthias on social media. See the links in the description below.